I want to first thank you for coming to the Topeka Public Library because I think we have a really great program today. And I'll tell you what, I was inspired by our speaker, and I'm thinking I'm having to follow him. Whoa! But I want you to know that I believe this: unlocking your past, exploring your ancestry, and using every tool available is the reason you need to become your family historian, just like he shared how you tell your story. It fits in so well. I'm going to give you a little story to think about, and I'm not bragging here. My 12th great grandfather came on the Mayflower as a 14-year-old boy. He just about blew up the ship, caused a fire, and killed most of the people. As he's written up in history, is getting his father's gun, putting in the powder, and shooting it off inside the boat over the powder for their guns. I would not have wanted to be him, but fast forward, my oldest son, at age 12, him and his cousins decided to play cowboys and Indians at Thanksgiving, and one of the cousins shot him in the eye with the BB gun. Now, I didn't know the story about my 13th great uncle or grandfather. Had I known that, I would have understood what I was dealing with. That's true story, by the way. I hope that when we get through today that you will understand why I believe it's so important for you to do this. And I'm going to see if I can get this off because I can't stand still. If any of you know me, you know I can't stand still. But there's a cost, and just like anything. And the question is it worth it? I hope to kind of answer some of those questions today. The overview of what Ancestry is and its mission, importance of genealogical research, and the brief introduction to the new tools. And I have before I begin, I want to ask a friend of mine to speak about a story I just found out today. I want you to think of stories of your ancestors.
Whoops, sorry. We shocked. My name is Chad Sidesinger. I'm sorry I wasn't really prepared to talk today, but we were talking about, hey, what's going on? And Marty says, what's going on? I said, well, my granddaughter has a special presentation at school that she's supposed to do for extra credit. And she's supposed to talk about an Underground Railroad. I said, we were eating dinner last night. I said, okay, granddaughter, I've got a story for you in our Underground Railroad. Your fifth great grandfather was a conductor on the Underground Railroad. I was in 2021, we went to Tazewell County, Illinois, and placed this plaque by his headstone that mentions the fact that he was an Underground Railroad conductor. They had a nice presentation of all of their county's Underground Railroad conductors at that time. And there was a story written in 1879, one of the books, and I read it to her about him getting slaves to his farm and how they hid them and what they had to do to get them farther north, and how, you know, it was something that she was very impressed with, that we had that story. I printed off several documents for her to share with her class so she could talk about that. She did the same thing with her Mayflower ancestor in a previous class, previous year. Mine fell off the ship, barely caught on, but anyway. And then my better DNA story, which I'm not going to give, is my another third great grandfather, Abraham Sellers, who was born in 1794. His first record says he was a free person of color as he grew up. And my DNA connection is to his father was actually Robert Darling, which was what the DNA tells me clear back from then. So it's kind of fun. Thanks, Marty.
And I really was surprised about his story, but it really fit into the class that I was doing today, is because we are the historians and we've got to dig out the story. And I can tell you from doing this for almost 10 years with research and DNA, the stories are in your family. You got to dig them out. And I just think that was really awesome. Thank you. Um, this is some of the things that Ancestry puts out there to help you get started. You can make a free account, and a lot of your research, not records, but learning how to use their site is available there for you to use. One of the things that they've added just in this last year, they've really increased the tools for us genealogists, is how to preserve your photos, how to make albums, write stories. Do you see a theme here? We need to write our stories down. We are finding paper, but what happens to paper? We need to tell that story. We need to write it down and keep it safe. Now, here are some other companies that have partnered with Ancestry. A lot of the times you can, like here at the library, they have a Fold3 account. So you can go look to find your ancestors who fought in the Civil War, for example, or World War II or World War One. The Fold3 has a lot of records there that they can publish. Newspapers.com is where you find a lot of stories about your family. There is also another government site that's LOC, where you find newspapers that were actually printed and read back in the 1700s. So, yes.
Now, I subscribe, so I have all of that. And those, they're not too friendly. I struggle every day. The Fold3, there's records that are not there. And you know, put in the names and stuff. I still have yet to be able to put in names and come up with the results.
Yes, Fold3 is a hard site to work with, but you can dig around eventually and find some records. We do offer some classes at TGS by Zoom that you might want to consider. Go look at our website or check with our table back there today. And we do offer classes for those kinds of questions. I'd like to continue because I'm not going to get through all of it. And yes, there's a lot of places to go out there and look for your family stories. So Ancestry does have a classroom if you're a teacher for grades kindergarten to 12th. It's really pretty cool. And then there's the Ancestry Pro genealogist. Like if you really get stuck, then if you've got the money, you can pay to have it done for you. But I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun just to do your own research. But does it come naturally? No. I suggest classes, learn, read. There's YouTube videos out there. You could type in YouTube Fold3 on how to navigate. And even Fold3 itself has some instructions on how to navigate. All right, so right now, and I think it expires like in the next 2 days or so, they had an offer that you could get a DNA for $39, and for additional dollar, you get the World Explorer 3-month membership. So it's just 3 months, and you have to remember to cancel it, but it gives you a chance to explore ancestry. All right, here are some of the new features that Ancestry has added to their research side, their family tree side. They've enhanced their search capabilities, making it a little easier. They're also doing a lot more suggestions. If you put your tree, you can make that tree private or public. That's up to you. But they're going to give you, if you put what you know about your family, they're going to give you ideas to take that farther down the road. They have interactive trees, collaborating tree building options, visual enhancements and features, and I'm going to do the DNA a little bit later. All right, here's um, on this list over here, one of the things Ancestry has done over the last couple of months that's hard for beginners to do is that they've added all these drop downs in different places. So a particular tool may have 3 ways to get to it. And so it gets a little confusing, but hopefully by the end of today, we'll be a little clearer on that. So as you can see on the right-hand side, there's events and places. And let me see if I can move this little thing out of the way. Get rid of it down here. The family tree, there's where it has pro, that's an extra $10 a month. You have Family Tree Pro, events and places, possible errors in your tree, and hints. And then you have different tags that you can add to your tree to help you find that particular line. Let's say you've got a DNA match and you want to make sure that you can get back to that DNA match. You can connect on on your tree and then add a little tag there that says DNA match. So it's a really good thing. This was all the people in one of my smaller trees. And you can see over here that it has hints and then also other clues that I can connect on. The pro tools that I was talking about, and that's Tree Checker, Enhanced Shared Matches, Smart Filter, Charts and Reports, Tree Mapper, and Tree Insights. All right, my larger tree is up here in the corner where it says 7.8. That's my error rate on my tree. I would like to have it better. So you can see where most of my errors may be is possible duplication and people that don't have documentation and other issues. Now, before this Pro Tool, you wouldn't know you had a problem with it unless you went back and researched every little person. But with this, it takes and gets you the information within just a few minutes. All right. The map of the United States, it's about the number of people that have DNA matches with me at this time. And you can see that the green, I've got 1 or 2 people hanging out in Texas and Mexico, and it goes all the way through, and you can kind of get a feel for that. Then also, here are some more tools. Like I said, there's more than 2 ways to get to all of the things. You can search just individually. Here's a fan chart. And where there's no name and it's brown, that means I haven't found an ancestor. But this is my direct tree back 6 generations. And you can see I still have more research going on. But I can also invite people to share my tree in the sense that they can look at it and see if they recognize any names. We have tree viewing options. I can do a pedigree or a horizontal, but I like the fan chart because it's quick. And you can also print this up, give it as a gift. And you can also prioritize certain ancestors on that tree, and that will come up and show you what you have. Now, the Insight was a new tool, and it goes out and looks at the names that you have in your tree, and it gives you a little history. Ross is one of my surnames, and it printed up like within seconds everything that I needed to know about how their surname started. So, yes. And we have specific tools to work with, record match technology. I'm sure you've all heard about AI. And AI is intelligence generated. It has all the data that Ancestry has, and then it generates potential hints about your tree. Like everything else, it can be correct or it might not be. You always have to check your work, but it gives you a good place to start. That's the way I look at it. It has the storytelling. And this is the family story that one of my ancestors, now I didn't do this. This is Ancestry just filling in some stuff. And this is my Laird family. He was an early member of the Church of Jesus Christ. And if you click on that, it more evaporates what you have. Yes. These are some of the new tools that they've added where they have a place where you can create your story on Ancestry. You can create photo albums. You can do audio recordings. Like if you have an older grandmother or grandfather still living, you can interview them and actually keep it on this site. You can create documents. Like if you want to write a story, from documents that you have, you could do that here. You have to pay $10 extra for the Pro Tools per month. Yes. Okay, they have photo lines and Tree College. And here's some ideas that you can put a photo in there, you can colorize it, you can enhance it, you can, have filters on it, and then you can make slide presentations. And let's see if I can get this small again. Yeah, okay, now I figured it out. All right, one of the stories that happened to me, and I just have this here to remind me to liven the talk up a little bit because I get into details and facts, and that's not as much fun. But about 15 years ago, I visited Salem with a group of people. We were on vacation, and we got to Salem, and we were there for the last presentation. They do a reenactment of the Salem witch trials. And we were in the very back. And about halfway through, I started shivering. And I'm like, the person I was sitting by, I said, "Are you cold? Or you feel drafty?" He goes, "No." I said, "I'm hot." And I never thought anything more about it. Well, I started really researching my family about 2010. It was about 2011. I was up about 3 o'clock one night doing research. And all of a sudden, a witch popped up on my computer that I was related to. And then I got to dig in a little bit and come to find out I had about 5 different ancestors that were part of the Salem witch trials. Some had testified, some had in favor and against. And I'm like, oh, now I know my ancestors were there. It was kind of an interesting feeling, but you just have to go with the flow sometimes. All right. It also does little things like this for you. It picks up like how many Rosses. You can see that I've got 325 Rosses in my tree right now. And I have Rice's and Cook, 2 different spellings, and Smith. So you can see how I have very common names to research. All right. This is not the easiest tool to use, and it is free. It is searching by boards and by subjects. For example, you can put United States in it, and then you can see there's 2 subcategories. Don't know what those subcategories are, but there's 2. And they have 2 boards going on that subject. But let's say that you're interested in, say, Virginia. And so you could start a board talk about Virginia, maybe a specific area, and find people that are interested in your same general area. So don't be afraid to use whatever tools are available when you dig into your research. You can see also they have categories, cemeteries and tombstones, and you can see off the side, there's quite a few categories. Yes. Be a little, okay. You could probably search by church, and then you may have to add a category for the particular denomination you're researching. Because I don't have this live that you could click forward and see. All right, this gives you an idea of the number of people that are in my tree right now, and it tells you where they're located. So you can see pretty much I'm in Canada, several locations, and the United States. So that's where most of my family live at this point, or back 400 years. All right, so we've shared a couple of case stories with you already. And I also, what did I learn from using this tool? What number one was I had my error rate. I know what it is. I know I've got work to do to make it better. I know I enjoy the stories. I need to start writing them down and collecting them and putting together in short books. And the two things that I want to share is when I started doing DNA, I was surprised about the impact it had in my life. Number one, it took me to Ireland to do research on my Irish ancestors, and that is one of the hardest countries to research. But I met the most beautiful people that some stories there will always be with me. We wanted to have a Guinness, and we've told what was the best pub in Belfast. So we go, and it was a little tiny square pub, just like hardly any people could fit in. I stood at the door and I said to the guy, we want to come in and have a pub, the best pub in Belfast, and we want to have a Guinness. He goes, there's no room. I said, oh, we're from America. We want her to be back. He goes, oh, give me a chance. So he moved some people around. He says, come on back. He put us clear back in the corner. And before long, we had this group of young men in their 20s. They were kind of scrunched up close to us. The one young man says, where are you from? Oh, we're from America. Why you came over here? I said, we search for dead people. That's what I said. And he said, what? So then I says, do you have grandparents, great grandparents are still alive? Yeah. I said, have you asked for their stories? No. Well, how are you going to find them when they're dead? And they just started interacting with us. We had the best time there for almost an hour and a half. So you never know where you're going to make a connection, but it was one of the fun nights. The success story I had in my own family tree, I knew none of these people. Within about 3 or 4 years, I had over 100 layered cousins, and they all decided that we wanted to have a family reunion. They had done them like 10 years ago, but they hadn't had any time sooner. And so my cousin that I'd become really a friend with, and we did research together, we put the family reunion, we had it out in Oregon, and we did a presentation of some of our ancestors using MyHeritage AI technique, where the head of the ancestor is actually talking and moving and telling the story. We had everyone in that room like this. They didn't move. And they learned about their family history in a unique way. That's what you must do as a family historian. Now, one of the other things that I want to share with you is NPE, which simply means that it's a non-paternal event. It could be caused from a lot of reasons. It's not necessarily negative, but it means that the male child did not grow up with the surname that he was born with for whatever reason. When I did my research, I have found 25 NPEs in the first 2 to 3 generations of my family. And I've worked with them and I've been able to get them in my family. They know where they fit. One fun story, this one gal, she's about 5 or 6 years older than me. And I said, we're sharing like 400 centimorgans. And I said, we're cousins, you know. She says, I don't see how your tree and my tree even connect. I said, but we're cousins. And she said, well, I just don't see it. I said, okay, I'll get back with you in about 6 months. So about every 6 months, I'd send her some new stuff about DNA, you know, how you could find who your cousins were. And so after about 4 or 5 years, she called me up and she says, okay, we're cousins. That was the longest sale job I've ever had to do. But now we're the best of friends. In fact, I got to visit her this year. And so that's what genealogy will do. It will bring you closer to your ancestral cousins that you do not know. And it can be really a fun trip. Additional links that Ancestry gives you is webinars, Ancestry tools, and they also provide an outline of a comprehensive look at new tools offered by Ancestry. They have, and I'm going to do a live demonstration to kind of help you see this. These are some of the classes on Ancestry that you can read, and in some cases they're websites, in some cases there's webinar or YouTube videos. So those are a lot of the topics that are covered by Ancestry. This is all free. One of the things that we do with family stories is we're always looking back in time. And Ancestry has put together different things that you can click to take you back to different times in our history in America, as well as other countries. Because remember, most of us, if I would not say all of us, unless you're Native American, we're all immigrants. We did not come to this country with being legal. We were just came for new life, new, better way. Some by slaves, some by servants. My Irish ancestor were servants for like 7 years. And that paid off their ship cost. So somebody picked that up and said, okay, you can work for me for 7 years and then you're free. You know, so it wasn't just a Black story, it was everyone's story. And we need to remember that. That story needs to be told. Okay, the tips for maximizing new tools and best practice using search features. And we're going to do a little recap I'm going to demonstrate some of these sites to you. That is, if I can get the computer to cooperate. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Pro Tools right here. And you can see there's more. I'm going to take you in different ways. Maybe it's going to work. Okay, here's that one shot I showed you on my presentation. So we're just going to check a tree. This is another tree I have out there. I don't have documentation. It's kind of an exploration tree that I use, but I can select any of my trees and it can, you know, give me what I've got. So I don't have any duplicates. That's the only thing that's good, right? All right, let's go back here. All right, enhance, that's in the more the DNA class. I will do that this afternoon. Here's some smart features. And what I can do, let's say that I want to look at a tree, a specific name. I can type that name in and it'll bring it up. Then I can go, I don't have to have the whole tree open. I can do more specific research on a given person. And then I can also hit more filters. Maybe this will work and maybe this won't. All right, let's go get another tree up here though. That one, let's see here. All right, so there's 4 different filters that you can check your tree against. You can do all of them at one time, or you can just do one at a time. So I'm going to take off duplicates, and I'm just going to put people with no sources on this. And so it brings up the people on this list that are possible duplicates. So I want to close that out. And then I'm going to click on may not work. Probably has, let's go on and we'll go to events and places. So let's look at birth. So I now have a list of people that have birth dates in my tree. And if I want to look at marriages, we'll have a list of people that I have marriage dates in my tree. And I can go lived in, and I can put 1620. And I'm looking for a location. So that particular didn't bring up anything per se, but that's kind of how you would use it. You can make custom tags. And the ones that I've used, of course, are DNA, American Revolutionary War, Civil War. I also have a tag for do not marry, so that when you see their name and you open their profile up, you'll know that you don't need to spend any time researching a marriage because they haven't been married. Or maybe they died as infants or babies. And so this is another tag that I put. It's just not connecting yet for whatever reason on that. All right, let's go back. Okay, here's my Ancestry feed. You can see it's in beta. And one of the things that Ancestry has added this past year is traits. It says, do you sleepwalk? You can answer their surveys if you want. And the answer is I don't sleepwalk. That's something Ancestry puts. So I had to click on that. And then I do not consent because I wasn't wanting to do it. But that gives you some idea of what you can do with it. then it'll put a question to you every day about your family tree. And today's question is, how many children does James Laird have? And whoops, he had 9. So I don't always get my questions answered correctly. And so I can view a record. It asks me some more questions. And this is Ancestry AI, Ethnic Insight. So what it does is put together, based on your ethnicity that Ancestry comes up with, an AI story about when your family got into that area. And so forth and so on. And then over here, you have your spatial collections that you can click right here and go straight to it. Like if you want the US military records. And then you put in their first name and last name. What was the last name of the gal left? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't see you. What was the last name? Do you know a first name? James?
They said that the years that my dad was serving, they had a fire, and those records were full. So I don't know, searching, I've not been able. And I haven't been able to find him, but
They would be 15 minutes. That would be probably a closer, like down in St. Louis, because they're still alive probably, or close to being. We're talking about the Civil War or World War I or wars back. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably not going to be on fold 3. Yeah. And what was said is that they did have a fire and they lost a lot of records, but I can tell you from personal experience, if you go down and make an appointment with them, tell them what you're researching, you make appointment and then you come down on that date and time that they give you, that they can sometimes find pieces of documents and to help you in St. Louis. Yeah.
they requested that he send them his record, what he remembered. So they might be compiling people.
Well, that's really a good thing to follow through on because it's important data for your family. It's not what my mouse and I are fighting. Okay, I want to show you, see that little question mark right there? Nobody ever clicks on that, but here's the Ancestry Academy that I talked to you about for teachers. And then you can also see that there is a community site. And that gets you into collaborate and contribute. So you have different ways of working through Ancestry community. And memories. This is really kind of different. Let's see here if I don't know whether I. Okay. I know I'm running out of time. I've got how much? 12 minutes. Okay. I do want to show you about to create a report. And this is one that I created for just tendency. It's just, like, I think it was 3 generations. It brings up what's in your tree. And what I do with this is I use it to go back and check my tree for accuracy. So like when I'm doing a particular family, I can use this. But you can also do a family group sheet. So it brings here the wife, the husband, a wife rather, and then the 2 children. So that's what a family group sheet does. I think the reports might be not pro. It kind of gets confusing anymore because I pay the $10, so it's kind of hard for me to know whether that was a pro tool or not a pro tool. But when you go back to the home page, all of these are going to be the pros. And so they've got the reports and charts. That's going to be under pro. You can do the fan tree without being on pro. Tree mapper. What TGS does several classes monthly that are on Zoom. And we're going to start in January. We haven't firmed up the date yet, but we'll be doing how to actually use Ancestry tools. So if you're interested, I suggest you sign up out at our booth. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything. And we'll do more hands-on going through the different steps and what you can do. Because, for example, for me to teach everything that Ancestry has pulled out, it would take a week. So what I'm trying to do here is give you an overview of what's out there. Now, whether it fits your needs right now, at least you know it's there. And they're going to continually add more tools. That I can see that's handwriting on the wall. Their DNA tools that and I will be teaching about that this afternoon, it's outstanding what they've done. It's really going to help everyone. So as you can see, under DNA, it's got compare, that's new. That's one of the things. And you can also get your pet, have a DNA kit. Find out if that poodle is really a poodle. So is there any questions before? All right. Well, thank you for coming. And I know it probably didn't meet what you were thinking it was going to be, but it's communication between who put together the advertisement on the website versus who's actually doing it. So I apologize, but no, it's important to have your history down somewhere, and you can make it private here. You don't have to make it public. I have mine as public because I want to find cousins. I want to expand that family story, but you don't have to. I started with no information about my family tree. I was adopted, so I didn't have any factual information. So I put my tree together after I found my bio parents. And so when you are adopted or have a non-paternal event, you have to start from scratch. And so you use the records to build that tree going backwards. So I would say that it's important to get the first 3 generations of your tree wrapped up and solid. And you want to have the siblings of your 3rd great grandparents. You want to have the kids of the 3rd great grandparents who they married, who are their kids. You need to bring your tree down to the same generation as you are. Okay. Any other question? All right. Thank you. I'll let you go 5 minutes early.